I'm Gregg, Jarrett, and you're in the strategy room. On the eve of the second GOP debate, candidates not named frontrunner Donald Trump are shouting to be heard. Chris Christie says he will not be afraid to butt in. Scott Walker telling Fox News that dead man Walker will rise again. In the meantime, the Donald trying to out-Trump himself with a big speech from a battleship. Here now with reaction, our political strategist David Mercer, Brad Blakeman. Gentlemen, good to see you both. Brad, let's start with you. Maybe Trump is going to be Trumpier. I don't know. One of the late night comics suggested that. He's the front runner. Clearly, does that make him the big target?
There's no question about it. He's center stage. All eyes are on Donald Trump. Last night, when he spoke in Dallas, he had over 18,000 people. That's unheard of this early for somebody who's never had public office before. So his celebrity status has catapulted him to frontrunner status, and it's going to be hard for him to out-Trump himself, but he's going to have to do that in order to have that momentum continue for him, and that's a very high bar for Donald Trump. You
know, David, factual matters and knowledge of issues does not appear to be, at least thus far, Donald Trump's strong suit. So, I mean, this could be a problem for him depending upon the nature of the very pointed questions.
I agree, and I think he's going to get it from both sides. He's going to get it from his right and his left. For one, I think Carly Fiorina will take him to task as she is well versed on a lot of the issues and speaks to him cogently, which is the reason why she's now in the top tier debate as opposed to last time being in the pre-debate or, as they said, the happy hour debate. But I also think that with Jake Tapper and Hewitt in the CNN debate, they're going to really, I think, mix it up in two ways. One on issues, but also creating an environment where they have the candidates going to one another on the issues. Right. So I think, given what Brad had said earlier and him having front runner status, that Trump is going to be a target in many ways from a lot of different angles.
Yeah, if Trump is reckless and abandoned, Fiorina is polished and prepared. Let's take a look at the latest polling data out. Donald Trump, this is the CBS New York Times poll, just out. Donald Trump, 27%, Ben Carson, 23%, and look at that, Jeb Bush, 6%. Brad, talk to us about Carson and what you would expect from him in the big debate, and then Jeb Bush.
Well, Carson's got to be cerebral, and he's great at that. Low key, he's not going to attack anybody, and what he's going to do is he's going to talk about uniting people. I believe he's going to talk about issues, and he's going to try and rise above the fray. He's going to try and stay out of Donald Trump's crosshairs, and if he does get in it, I don't think Carson is going to take the bait. However, the other 10 who are on stage really have the problem, because they're going to have to break out, and they're going to have to figure out a way to do that that's genuine and not contrived or staged. And the time is fleeting for these guys. You know, most of the 11 people only have just a couple minutes to make an impression. Right. In that debate. So they're going to have to pick their opportunities very, very carefully.
You know, David, Bush has been, at one point sort of the presumptive front runner, and then he took a conspicuous nosedive in the polls. And, of course, he's been ridiculed by Trump as low energy, among other criticisms. Would you expect him to come out swinging?
I would, and I think that we're going to see more of that, where rather than speaking to the camera, the candidates are going to be addressing one another. And I think, having had a warm-up at the Fox News debate, albeit commanding an audience of 24 million viewers, I think we're going to see them going at one another. And again, that's what's going to cause the accountability issue on issues to be targeted to Trump. Now, with regard to Bush, he's not the only one going now into single digits. You got Rubio going into single digits, Walker going into single digits. Right. I think he's in third or fourth place in Iowa, where he was leading hitting the polls earlier. So those candidates have a lot to do in this debate tomorrow night in order to reverse the trend of their downward inclination on the polls and their favorability among voters.
Brad, Rick Perry's new pair of glasses didn't seem to help much, so he dropped out. Let's put up that polling data one more time, because let's focus on the folks at the bottom. I mean, look at that. Who's going to drop out next? Gilmore, Jindal, Santorum, Chris Christie, Lindsey Graham. Graham's not even on that list, is he? He didn't even make 1%.
Well, look, after this next debate, I don't think there's another debate till January. So there are a lot of people who can stay in there and tread water if they choose to, because really the next contest is not only the next debate, but we're getting closer to the actual voting. And that's where really the rubber hits the road. Also, organization. If these folks don't have the fundraising after tomorrow night and it starts coming in robustly, they're not going to have the ability to have the grassroots that are necessary to get out the vote preparations in Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. So they'll have to drop out.
And I think going to Brad's point, Gregg, that what we also have that's not clearly visible is the invisible primary, and that is the endorsements of Republican congressmen, senators, and governors. And we haven't seen much of endorsements to those candidates. And I think you want to shore that up because they're become excellent surrogates to rallying the troops.
I'm not sure anybody ever cares when you get a congressional endorsement, but
well, Hillary Clinton has 130 plus of them.
Well, let me say something about the endorsements.
Gee, that's doing her a lot of good. She's down 30
It is
points.
doing a lot of good.
No,
it is
she's
doing
down 30.
good.
Are you kidding? She's lost a third of her support. She's cratering among women. She's losing in Iowa and New Hampshire. Yeah, that's really helping her.
And she's ahead in national polls against all Republicans and Democrats.
You always have to get the last word in, don't you?
Until her indictment.
I'm going to get the last word in. Maybe Lindsey Graham dropped out and nobody noticed. How about that? Brad and David, good to see you both.
Thanks.
You can check out foxnews.com for more on the 2016 presidential race. I'm Gregg Jarrett. Thanks for watching.